Hey folks, Randy here with Doing Cut and Trim. So the lawn care season is pretty much over at this point, and I figured I would go over something, or this is something I do every year, and figured I'd take you along for the ride with me, and that's where I go through all my customers and figure out the ones that have left me, and I figure out why they left, and figure out what I can do to deal with those issues in the future, what I did wrong, or maybe in some cases there was nothing I could have done. We'll see. So I figured this is a process I do every year, but figured, you know, it might be helpful to you guys if I took you along on this ride with me. So I'm going to open up my client report dealie. And so let's see, this isn't going to include October numbers. I'm recording this right at the end of October. But for 2018, I was able to generate 205 new leads. That's not as many as I generated last year. 2017, I generated 221. So 16 leads fewer this year. However, as far as turning those leads into clients, in 2017, I was able to generate 98 brand new clients, with 98 of them out of 221 leads. This year, I was able to generate 114 new clients out of 205. So actually, my close percentage has actually gone up year over year. So that's good. However, not everyone stayed. The most active lawn mowing customers I ever had at one time was 109, and it usually hung out between like 92 and 100. It was 109 for a short time, and we'll get into that. So I'm gonna go into the clients section of Service Autopilot. And I can't show this to you because I'm not going to show you my customer's information, but on the client screen, using tags and some other things, you can create different types of lists of your customers. So like right now, I'm looking at the signed mowing contracts for 2018, and that's all my active mowing customers. So right now, I have 97 active mowing customers on whatever day today is. What is it? October 27th. So that's how many active mowing customers I have right now. However, if I go to canceled mowing contracts, let's see how many of those we got. So I had 40 mowing contracts canceled this year. And so I'm going to go through them and we'll see what we can do. Okay, and I'm just going to say first names, but I'm going to make them up because, you know why. So the first one is this guy, Jordan, and he actually canceled me before I even got a chance to get started. He signed, and it's my fault, he signed a lawn mowing contract, but he wanted to take a look at the property with me before I came out. We scheduled an appointment for whatever it was, and I didn't put it in my calendar, and I missed the appointment, and so he dropped me, you know. I think the takeaway with that one is put stuff in the calendar, you know, and keep up with your appointments. Okay, and then there's this guy, Jeff. I think I did a video about him. That was a lawn company that I agreed to do some work for and then quickly realized that that wasn't a wise decision for me. So, I'd say, how many do I have listed here for him? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there should be more of those. There should be 16, but I may have deleted them because I was really frustrated. So with Jeff, you know, that honestly, those were my fault because I took customers that were outside my service area. If I had to do that over again, I would have just told him no from the beginning because they weren't in my service area. I had no business taking on those customers. So that one's on me. Here we got Chris. Chris was a really good dude, and that was one of those customers that you kind of knew you weren't going to keep, you know. He was the kind of guy that actually had all his own equipment, but from what I gathered from his wife, he was having He's having some health issues or something, and I guess he had a breakthrough like a month or two into the season, and said that he would take it from there. And I said that's fine. We left on good terms there. There's nothing really to take away from that one. I did a good job with him. They never had a single complaint. It's just, he got healthier and wanted to do it himself. I'm not going to knock him in for that. We got Pat. Pat is another one I knew I wasn't going to keep. Pat, she was taking care of it for her mom, and then Pat had a similar thing to Chris, had a health issue, couldn't mow for a while. And so I took it on while Pat was on the mend. And I could tell when we were getting close to the end, because I would show up and clearly it'd been cut. Like, it was a bi-weekly cut, and I could tell it'd been cut the week before. And so I wasn't really surprised at all when she dropped me. Oh, Vicky. Vicky. Vicky was a piece of work. Vicky was a customer that she was right in the middle of my service area, which is why I hung on to her. But she was one that I got there and realized I was undercharging big time. There were obstacles everywhere in the yard. There were three separate yard areas, like they were fenced in with gates. Front yard, well, I guess four. Like there was the area with the curb, fenced in front yard, fenced in backyard, fenced in side yard, and they were all separated. And none of the fenced in areas could be done with a commercial walk behind. They all had to be done with a push mower. And I have told all my customers from the get-go, I only move obstacles if I'm confident I won't damage them. But your fire pit, I don't care how small it is, I'm not moving it, because those suckers rust out from the bottom. So I'm not moving it. And like they had a lot of like antique looking decorations and stuff, and they felt like I should have moved them, and I was always like, no. I think I only cut her yard 3 times, and every time it was a complaint. She eventually dropped me. I should have dropped her, but honestly, she was in the middle of my service area. I didn't want to, so I knew she was going to drop me, and just kind of went with it. But, one of the issues she had was that she never felt like the yard looked good. And honestly, that was because it was being cut every 2 weeks, and it really needed to be cut weekly. And that's that actually is going to be a common theme here, I think. And so I actually, going forward, I'm going to be upfront with customers, especially ones that want to do bi-weekly or less, and really got to go over with them. Like, look, you're going to encounter these issues if we go bi-weekly, especially if we had record rainfall like we did this year. But I also did what I needed to do to correct that issue. I upgraded my push mower. She'd already moved on by the time I did that, but I upgraded the push mower I was using so that to something with more power, so that going forward I would be able to appropriately serve customers like Vicky. Laura, nothing I could have done about Laura. Laura moved. People move. And if they move, they move. I'm not driving to Pennsylvania to cut your grass for you. Well, I will, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Barbie. Yeah, Barbie. That's the name. She was nice, but she was way outside my service area, and she knew that, and I was kind of doing it as a favor to her. And one of her neighbors offered to take care of it for her, and so she canceled me. Didn't have a problem with that. Very, very nice lady. Only thing and I honestly, in the future, I won't be taking customers that live as far away as she does, because it causes issues. And next we've got Jason. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure who Jason is. And it's going to be really hard for me to talk about Jason, considering I don't know. But let's see. I'm clicking on his customer profile. Jason sold his house. Okay, well, that's what it was. I was doing a great job, I'm sure. But Jason sold his house, and like I said, unless you're going to stay in the same city, I'm probably not going to be able to help you out. Rose. Rose, that was another one, and there's another one that's going to be in the exact same situation. Rose and this other person, they were neighbors, and they both had the same lawn care service, and the guy, I guess, hurt his back or something. And I actually mowed the yard one up from them. And so Rose actually told me from the get-go that, you know, once the other guy was healthy, they were going back to him. And it's like, yeah, you know, that's fine. So, you know, money was good while it lasted. Although I will say, I hated doing Rose's yard. There's another one where pretty much the whole thing had to be push mowed. And I don't like doing that. All right, next we've got Lori. And that name is not familiar to me at all. So let's click on Lori, see what the deal... Ow! It's because I never cut Lori's yard. See, this is another thing. A lot of customers, I don't know how many of them did it this year, a lot of people sign up for the lawn service, and even though it says on there you got to put your credit card on file, they seem to think that I'm going to show up even if you don't put your credit card on file. And so, yeah, Lori signed up back in June, and I sent her several emails requesting that she put her card on file, and she never did it, and so I never cut it because, you know what. Erica! I was looking forward to mowing Erica's yard. She signed up, and I never actually got to do it. I showed up for the first time, and her grass was 3 feet tall. And I was like, there is no way. So I let her know, like, you know, if you want to pay me to clean it up, I'll do it. But there's no way. That's just too much. There's no way. And she said, fine. Peace out, homie. All right. Lita. So Lita is another one. I actually mowed her for a couple years. And it started... Actually, she signed the contract for this year, but then I believe she said her nephew was coming to live with her, and part of him living there was he was going to have to cut the grass, and I was like, well, I'm not going to get mad at you about that. And actually, I was kind of happy because she was one of my older customers, so she actually signed up with me back when my minimum cut was $25 per lawn, and she's like one of 2 people that were still on that. And so I was kind of glad she left because I don't like working for 25 anymore. All right, Ken's rental. So Ken, I actually still mow Ken's yard. He also had a rental property, but you know, people moved in and they're going to cut the grass themselves. So, you know, Ken stopped it. Pat moved. Yeah, Pat moved. Yeah, that was that. Antoinette. All right, I'm going to click on Antoinette's profile. I'm pretty sure this is another one I never did. Yep, yeah, it is. Yeah, she's another one that signed up and didn't want to put their credit card on file. I should have like a separate category for that. Because it's kind of annoying like having these people that I canceled that I never actually did any work for. All right, here's another one I don't recognize. Megan. So what's going on with Megan? So Megan signed up and then I guess immediately changed her mind. No, Megan's another one, signed up and didn't put her credit card on file. Goodness. All right. Heather, again, don't recognize this name. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was an interesting one, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this one. I never actually did any work for Heather. And the reason was she signed up, put her card on file, all that fun stuff. And then she asked me to, if I was going to be bagging the clippings. And I said, no, I don't bag ever. I run a very lean and mean setup, and I don't bag. And so she canceled me because she wanted somebody that would bag. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that going forward because I don't want to bag. That adds extra expense. So I might bag. We'll see. I might bag, but I think I might, if customers want it bagged, I think that's going to have to jack up the price because that's more work for me, you know. Let's see. Who else we got? Toby. Again, I don't recognize these names. Well, it's because I only cut Toby's yard twice. And I have no idea why. Doesn't say. I literally have no memory of Toby's property, and I honestly don't recognize the name, don't recognize the address. I mowed him twice in July, so I don't know. I have no idea. Linnell. Linnell. I don't know who this is either. Oh, it's because Linnell never put her credit card on file. Okay, she's another one. Another one. She didn't want to put her credit card on file, and so I never cut her grass. And I just went too far forward. I hope this video is not too boring. It's interesting to me. And like I said, this is mostly for my benefit. I would be doing this by myself, even if you weren't here. So we had Linnell. Now we've got Fran. Fran's the other one. Remember earlier I said there was the 2 yards next to each other that were taking on, that were going to have me come on while their guy got better. Fran was one of them. So same deal. The guy got better and Fran went back to him. Katie. I recognize that address, but see, when we've got her card on file, and apparently, oh, okay, well, we never actually cut her grass, so I don't know. She might, you know what, so she was bi-weekly, and so she probably didn't like the price I gave her, and that's probably why we didn't do it. Now we got Jeff, another one who I don't recognize. We've got his card. Oh, and that's why. Okay, so Jeff was on a weekly contract, and we mowed it twice, and then Jeff didn't want to do it anymore. Whatever, Jeff. I don't know why he canceled, though. But you know what? A lot of people sign up and then realize they don't want it in the beginning of the season, so I don't know. Alicia. That was a weird one. She actually lived right next door to another one of my customers that I still service. But I didn't know this at the time, but the house she lived in was like a boarding house type deal. And it was really confusing. I got there, it had never been cut. It was very overgrown. I was feeling charitable for whatever reason. And so I didn't charge her any extra. Got it cleaned up, mowed it twice. And on the last mow, though, I found out she was only responsible for the back of the house. So it was like this weird thing, like there was one tenant were responsible for the front, another was responsible for the back, and then like another one was responsible for the parking area. Like it was a weird setup. And so the property manager told me I could only mow, like she was only responsible for that back section. So I contacted her and said, look, you know, I'm willing to do front and back, but you only have the ability to sign a contract for the back. So that's all I'm going to do. And she said, well, let me, first she said, well, just cancel it. So I did. And then she came back. It was like, actually, we do want it, but let me talk to the housemate and see what they want to do. And I contacted them a couple of times, but she never got back to me. And, honestly, I wasn't charging enough for how big it was, but it was like not a big deal because I was right next door to another customer. So just let it go. And there's new houses there, so I don't think she even lives there anymore. Next, we've got Karen. And I mowed Karen once. So I'm guessing this may have been a one-time service. And it just somehow got on the mowing contract. I don't know. I'm guessing that's what it is. I mowed her once at the very beginning of the season, and that was it. Don't know. Let's see. All right, we're into the R's. Troy! Good dude. Did not like his yard, but good dude. Troy, yeah, I mean, he moved. So, I mean, there wasn't really anything to do about that. I did undercharge him on his yard. I think I had him at 35, should have been at 45, just because he was on a corner, so there was a lot more, I mean, he was on a corner, so there was a lot more edging to do. And then he was also on a hill, and it was just a pain in the bootay. And we got Wendy. Oh, Wendy's one of those chuckleheads that didn't want to put her card on file. Nice try, Wendy. So, yeah. And next we've got Chris. I did a whole video on Chris. Chris is the guy that he asked me not to mow his entire yard because it was so wet. He just wanted portions of it mowed. And so I said, okay. And then I got to the house, and Chris's wife came out and said the exact same thing, and even showed me where they didn't want to mow. And I said, okay. And so I did what they asked. And then they said, we never asked you to do that, demanded their money back, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I had worked for Chris once before, and he'd been a piece of work then. And I don't know why I took him back. No, I do know why I took him back. His yard was big, and I wanted the money. And I actually raised his prices 50% to deal with, you know, the pain in the butt tax, I guess. And he still dropped me. I made a couple bucks off of him, but, you know, never again. And then he also had a office that I was servicing, and that got canceled as well. So, yeah, that guy, whew, never again. That was the last thing I said to him, was never contact me again. Next, we've got Storm. That's right, Storm. And Storm, oh, yeah, Storm, this is one of those ones where it's like, there's nothing you can do about these people. They put their card on file, but it was one of those things like, you know, their service date was like on a Tuesday, and they wanted it to be on a Friday. And it's like, well, we're not in your area on Fridays. And they said, well, cancel us. And it's like, all right. Not a lot you can do about that. You know, most people don't like being on Mondays, and I understand that, but somebody's got to be on Monday. Just how it works. Lydia, they were nice. I liked them, but they moved away. Never had a single complaint from them. I enjoyed servicing their lawn. And then we've got Jake, who is a name I don't recognize. We have his card on file. And looks like I serviced his yard for about a month. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why he canceled me. Doesn't say, and I have no memory of... I don't remember what the yard looks like. So, don't know. And last but not least is Tiffany. And Tiffany also moved. You know, there was nothing I could do about that one. They asked me if I could service their lawn, but it was too far outside my service area, and so I wasn't able to do that. They had a nice house. Honestly, if I'd had the money, I'd have bought it. It was like perfect lawn care setup, you know, just nice neighborhood, but back like not convenient to get to. No people walking through. They were at the very end of a dead end road, and, you know, huge backyard, very easy to store equipment, reasonably safe. You know, you wouldn't be too worried about somebody coming in and stealing it. So, yeah, they were really nice. And that brings us to the end of the list. So it says 40 items on it. It's actually probably closer to 45 because of that one lawn business. But yeah, so I mean, those are all the people that I lost. And the main things that kind of jump out to me after processing this is in a few situations the equipment wasn't up to the task. You know, I didn't do a good enough job of following up and communicating, at least with the example of the first guy. If I had taken the time to put that meeting on my calendar, I would have still gotten them. And they were like a contractor in the area. I probably could have gotten a decent amount of work off of that. So I really blew that with not communicating with them effectively. And then... I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Several of them canceled because they didn't want to put their credit cards on file. Obviously, the solution to that would be to not require that. But my business model is based on you having to put your credit card on file. It's what I require. And so, and I'm not going to bend on that. Maybe in a few years I will, but right now that I am very strict about that. The only time I'll bend on it is in the case of like realtors and some contractors. I'm willing to work a bit more with the way they want to do things, but that's it. Um, and then, if you know something's going to be a problem, just deal with it. I mean, in the case of Chris, and in the case of what was the other name, Vicky, I knew there were problems from the get-go, and I didn't deal with them, and so it caused me headaches that I didn't need. But is what it is. So this has been me going over why they all left. I feel like there were some good takeaways, and I'll be able to implement these into my business going forward. And I'll probably go do another video going over things that need to be improved in my business. I'll make that a future video. I already know that I want to combine the welcome packet, the email that I send. I want to combine it with the new customer service agreement, so it's one email instead of two, so things are just as streamlined as possible. So I'll be working on that this winter. But yeah, that's it. So this is Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope it was instructive and helps your business in some way. You should definitely do this with your own business. Go through your records, see who came, who left, and what you can do to adjust things in the future to keep as many customers as possible. I had almost more customers than I could deal with. My goal was to hit 100. That's pretty much what I did. And so, we'll see if we can double it again next year. It's Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. Have a good one.